Get ready for the first full day in Europe. My daughter and I start off our Euro trip 2024 at Schiphol Airport. We then head to the beautiful canal city for just a couple of hours before we get on a train to Brussels Midi Station. We take the couple-hour train ride down there. We experience one of only 2 hostels that we'll be experiencing on this 14-day, 7-country tour. We'll sample some local cuisine, and then we'll go on a free walking tour of the beautiful city that is Brussels. So hang on, here we go. Hey travelers, that's me, Brian, the OCD traveler. And that's my beautiful daughter, Maddie. And before she leaves me forever, we decided to take an epic trip. Only backpacks, 14 days, 7 countries, traveling Europe, and you're invited. So let's go. This is day 1, Amsterdam and Brussels. After landing at 10:45 a.m., we found ourselves in the baggage claim at about 11:45 a.m. After passing customs and immigration. We don't have to get bags, just some public transportation tickets.
All right, so we got our vouchers for 3 days of Amsterdam travel. Right inside was the baggage belt.
So we opted for a transport ticket called the Amsterdam Travel Ticket. They were 72-hour tickets that included trains, buses, subways, allegedly everything we needed for about $10 per person per day. We later found out that there were some complications. But first, we've got to go storage some luggage in the luggage storage. Although U.S. airports banned luggage storage after 9/11, European airports still have them. So at Schiphol Airport, it's nice and easily. You go downstairs right by arrivals too to store luggage.
All right, we're in the basement of the Amsterdam airport, getting ready for putting our stuff into storage. So we have 2 backpacks.
So speeding through this, I was fortunate enough to get one of 5 advanced copies of the Tortuga Daypack Pro, and I'll go ahead and link that in the description, but it's a waterproof, fold flat, less than a pound day pack that goes nice and easily into your travel backpack. So I packed that up and we're ready to roll.
Yeah, we're ready to rock this bad boy. Ready to rock.
Click the top button.
Yeah.
It was an awesome time to be in Europe. Here's some Irish guys in town for the Euros, but we patiently waited for our turn to drop off our bags.
Dropping off 2 bags.
The belt.
Prices were pretty darn reasonable. You can see €6 for kind of a carry-on size suitcase. For a larger suitcase, it would cost you €9, and those are both for 24 hours.
2 times €6. You pay when you collect.
Okay.
Take the tickets for you.
Just in case you couldn't make that out, she said 2 times €6. You'll pay when you collect, and then she printed up the tickets, and we were on our way.
Thank you so much.
As I exit the luggage storage, tell me in the comment sections, how do you pronounce Schiphol Airport? Schiphol? I have to say, though, the airport is laid out really well in the arrival hall. You can see there's all sorts of eating options. They've got luggage storage, and then directly adjacent to it is a major bus station, train station, and subway station. So everything is really conveniently located. So right now we've got our public transportation passes, and we're trying to get to the city center, the waterfront area. So we're headed to Amsterdam Central Station. You can see on my phone that the current time is 12:06 p.m. and we want to be back at Schiphol Airport at about 2:30 for a 3 o'clock departure to Brussels, and from the train station directly in the airport. No, nobody wants to spend a vacation in Europe on their cell phone, but think of Holofly or another plan to get data, because Google Maps makes it so easy to use public transportation. That's exactly what we're doing. We're looking for an inner city connection, they call it, to take us directly to the central station. And although it seemed like a lot of Europe was going through a little bit of a heat wave, it was certainly not the case when we were in Amsterdam. So you can see Maddie putting on her Scotty vest, travel jacket. This is a windbreaker. I have a 3D jacket. Both are waterproof. Both conveniently pack up to a pouch. They have a bunch of different pockets in it, which makes it easy to organize gear as well as protect yourself from pickpockets. But the temperatures were struggling to get into 70 degrees. It was about 68 degrees Fahrenheit, and there was rain. So Maddie did the smart thing here and threw on a jacket. Before long, there it is, our train into the city, I should say. Inner City Direct or Sprinter, it's called both of those. There's a look at what it looks like on Google Maps. About a 15 to 20 minute ride into Amsterdam Central. So at this point in time, it would be 6 a.m. or so, our local time, and we had been going for a straight 24 hours with only about 4.5 hours worth of sleep. So definitely feeling the effects of fatigue as we pull into Amsterdam Central Station, but still excited to explore nonetheless. And then we hustle off the train and out of Amsterdam Central to the Waterfront, which overlooks the gap to Amsterdam North, which you can take a ferry over to if you want.
Beautiful out here.
So cool.
Pancakes?
I have no idea why I said pancakes, but next I'm going to talk about that building to the left that has the square on top. There's actually swings with people swinging out over the edge.
Look up there.
What is it?
They're on like
swinging.
swings. You want to go on swings? No?
Those.
So those are actually Europe's highest over-the-edge swings at the Amsterdam Tower. There's a reverse look, but she and I were not feeling it.
Should we walk down there? Probably to get where you want to go.
Let me see where it's at.
So with really only 3 hours before our train left, we couldn't do that much, but still wanted to explore a little bit.
Welcome to Amsterdam. All right, so we're headed to Dam Square right now.
Amsterdam is known to be a bike city, but I thought this was awesome. Look at this ramp coming up from the subway. There's a track to bring your bike up with you. I know. I get impressed easy, but I thought that was really cool. But speaking of impressed easy, look at this beautiful tile painting.
This is just in a tunnel underneath the Amsterdam Central train station, but look at the mosaic here. Not a mosaic, mural out of tiles.
And speeding this up, we passed a couple of different canals and things on our way over to the Dam Square area. I had to pause for a picture of Mickey D's. My son loves European McDonald's. And then we stopped for a little selfie in front of this picturesque little canal. And then I was really taken by this, TK Maxx. We love TJ Maxx. I hate to admit it, but I did not realize it's TK in Europe. So we went in.
We are in TK Maxx, not TJ Maxx. It's apparently TK outside of the US, which I didn't know. But we're killing time.
Don't worry, there's only like 15 seconds of TK Maxx footage. But my wife and I both worked here at some of our first jobs. Look at that, Versace loafers. Not necessarily something you would see in the States. But we'll bang through here. The biggest thing for me is this is very clean, very organized. So a little bit different than we were used to. But we were soon out of there and into beautiful Dam Square. There are few things more satisfying than hanging out in a beautiful European square, but here's one thing I can live without. A bunch of tourists were paying a guy to give them food and have pigeons land on them or feed pigeons. Absolutely disgusting. Was not something I was looking to do ever in my life, but hey, I get it. When in Rome or Amsterdam. But with not a lot of time to kill, we just kind of strolled through the square and we eventually made our way over to the National Monument, which is of course a white stone pillar, which was erected in 1956 to memorialize the victims of World War II. If you don't believe my voiceover, let's go over to my heavy monotone in real time.
This is the National Monument, white travertine monument with relief sculpting the national site for the remembrance of World War II.
With only 45 minutes until my train missing paranoia would kick in, we just decided to kick back. We had a drink, Maddie had a Coke. I had a tropical IPA from an Oedipus Brewing Company at this beautiful little place called The Lobby. And then we were back on to Amsterdam Central Station to get us back to Schiphol Airport before our train took off at about 3:05. Now this kind of shocked me. We were only on the platform for 10 minutes or less before this train rolled up. So this is the train that's going to take us to Brussels Midi Station. We did have enough time. You can see that blue bag Maddie's got. That's got some snacks, some drinks in it for the train ride, but I'm really surprised I wasn't there well beforehand. But let's get on this train and hit Brussels. I'm happy to say that we were able to find our coach relatively easily. That can always be nerve-wracking. These trains can be really huge. This one wasn't that bad. We were dead in the middle. Coach number 4. And we had to find seats 33 and 34 after showing the conductor or the ticket person our tickets. All right, as we roll back, we did pass a couple of kids, which is always scary. Is it going to be noisy? Is it going to be fine? It was fine, but we quickly found our seats 33 and 34, got our bags stowed, and as usual, those European trains just take off. So make sure you are there and ready because they are not waiting for anyone. Look, we're living large. We got some pastries, some water from an Albert Heijn, like a little grocery convenience store in the train station. $15.99 as Mandy shows off the little meat pie she's eating. Don't worry, that's not going to impact her ability to sleep at all. And as I did a little bit of film editing and some file transferring, Maddie, well, she snoozed. She was tired out, and I don't blame her. But after a quick 90 minutes, we were in Brussels. Well, timing, as they say, is everything, and our timing was, well, rush hour. So pretty quickly, we wedged our way in for the second time in one day. We were navigating a new public transportation system, this time in Brussels. I have no recollection of buying passes, but I know I bought 4 tickets, 2 for Maddie, 2 for me. And what this ungroomed smile is hiding from you is major fatigue as we made our way over to the MEININGER Hotel, Brussels City Center. Rated 4.3 on Google, kind of a hybrid between a hotel and a hostel. So we did get a private room. But as we rolled through Brussels, we were kind of surprised with how kind of rough it looked. But let me show you what I mean. So don't take offense and don't worry, it definitely gets better. But just kind of looking out at our hotel through this kind of muddy river, kind of industrial looking area, we were just kind of shocked. It wasn't your typical looking European city yet. We did find it later on, but initially we got a little bit nervous. But after a pretty quick walk over this bridge, we were over at the MEININGER City Center Hotel. I have to admit, if I was a young person, this would be a lot more fun. Maddie loved it. Cool vibe out here. A lot of young travelers together. But we quickly went to check-in where I realized I had 2 reservations because I'm dumb for the same hotel. They were nice enough to cancel one of them and get us checked into our room. So we did have a private room with a private bathroom. It was $169.11, which for Brussels is an excellent deal. This was clearly some sort of a converted warehouse, but it was super clean, super modern. Really liked it. You can see we're heading into, I believe, room number 12. Yep, 12 is going to be separated into 2 different rooms in this little foyer. So we are on the left side. Let's take a quick little walk through in this room. The room certainly looked clean and smelled clean as well. We did have to put our key card in to activate the lights. There's a little changing area right behind those cement columns. You can see 3 different twin beds. I'm usually not in love with being on the ground floor. It was fine here. You can see the bed rolls are kind of that Scandinavian style. So a flat sheet goes down. There's no fitted sheet, and there's no separate flat sheet to go over your body. They just kind of tuck everything in there. There's a little closet. Again, kind of a changing area. Looks pretty industrial and modern, but very functional. And then as you go around the corner, there is going to be a sink and then a separate water closet as well as shower. Both of them worked very, very well and served our purposes. It was a great room overall. One more look inside the shower. Shower's a little bit goofy the way that those 2 corners connected. Some water would kind of fall out, but really love the fact that the room is clean. Love the white sheets. The room will serve us just fine, and for $169, you can't beat it. Well, no rest for the wicked or the weary. Within an hour, we were back on the streets trying to find a place to eat before our 8 p.m. walking tour. We found a place called the Belgian Buffalo we wanted to try, but 2 Ubers canceled on us. One was taken forever, so we said we'll just walk the mile to get there. By the time we got there, though, it was empty. Even though it was highly rated, we just started this major loop of going from restaurant to restaurant, looking at Google reviews, trying to find a place that would work, and eventually settled on a place called L'Homme à Chapeau, which I think means the man with a hat. There's a look at the surroundings as we sat cafe style. Maddie got a burger and I got mussels and frites. A Leffe blonde beer to start, and then a bottle of still water as we tried to hydrate ourselves. Here's a look at Maddie checking out her burger.
What are you doing?
Take a bite.
What?
Take a bite.
It's really messy though.
All right, 1 to 10, what's the word? 6?
At 8.
8.
The meal with Maddie was fun. Mussels, I'm not a huge mussels guy, but when in Rome, right? I did hear from Rick Steves that you've got to use the other shells as little tweezers, so you can see me doing that there masterfully. We both love the fact that we could eat fries with mayonnaise without it being taboo.
Sorry.
Oh.
Right.
Dinner ended up costing us $53 for my mussels, white sauce with fries, and Maddie's burger and fries and a beer and some water. And then we started the very unpleasant mission of trying to find an ATM. We finally found one at a subway station after about 20 minutes and ended up being about 10 minutes late. So we arrived for our walking tour at 8:10. And this is where Brussels really shined. The main square where we met was gorgeous. And we started to see these beautiful parts of the city. We use an app to book this called freetour.com. You can go to the website or download the app, so you just provide gratuities. It was called The Dark Side of Brussels, but really nothing too dark. Just talked a little bit about the death that happened in the area during medieval times, but it was a pretty decent tour. Lasted about 2.5 hours with a Croatian tour guide that took us all through the city and showed us many of the sights. And this is apparently famous Belgian singer Jacques Brel. Here's a really interesting juxtaposition between old and new. Bowling right next door. I think this is an old prison with the gallows that used to be nearby, and then that super contemporary building right next door. There's another look at some of the beautiful kind of closed-in city alleys. Just a very lovely city, so we're glad we kept an open mind and gave it a second chance, because it definitely got more and more beautiful as the tour went on. There's a couple of shots of just some of the nice streets that we were talking about. Beautiful church off in the distance. And of course, clearly Belgian chocolate is supposed to be some of the best in the world. We actually didn't have any while we were there, as crazy as that sounds. During our tour, we did come across some rallies, so it was a little bit interesting. A march. I won't get into the politics of it. What I thought was funny, though, is they actually approached us and told us to stop recording. A bunch of different people were recording the march, the protest, and they asked us not to record it, which I thought was pretty weird. Generally speaking, you're out protesting to show people your support for something, but apparently they did not agree with us taping it. But the protesters eventually found their way through the city streets, even though it was a little bit distracting to be on a tour as a huge event was going on next to you. We eventually found our way to a more modern place that's featured the Brussels Skywheel, which is referred to as the Polar Place Ferris wheel. And then directly next to that is the Palais de Justice, which is my 3 years of high school French. Apparently there's some sort of a story with the scaffolding having been up for 30 or 40 years and seemingly never being completed. But there's a beautiful look at the cityscape as the sun's setting. A really, really gorgeous way to kind of wrap up our first full day in Europe, loving our time together in Brussels. And before we wrap the tour, I will show you the Ferris wheel one more time, as well as a statue or sculpture by an artist named Luc Van Soom. It's called In the Clouds, and you'll see 3 people with their head in the clouds. And he writes that clouds know no borders. They are free. They roam our planet without any need for justification or accountability, which is kind of cool with it being right next to the court. So believe it or not, 20 euros what we tipped our guide, and that was far more than anybody else. I don't know if that's a European thing or what, but then we ordered up a Bolt to get back to the MEININGER city center. And then you're about to see 2 very exhausted folks close out the day 1. All right, we are recapping. We can't even decide if it's day 2 or day 1. This is our second sleep, our first sleep in Europe after our travel day. But we're exhausted, so we got on our first plane about 23 hours ago and slept probably 4 to 5 hours total. You might have 6 with the train.
Yeah.
But so recapping our first, well, it's not even our first full day in Europe. Recapping today, so flew into Amsterdam, killed 2 hours there, then came to Brussels, took a 2-hour nighttime walking tour, which was every bit of 2 hours. So recapping, best thing we did today, you'd say what?
Just wandering through like the little streets and alleyways of Brussels. Yeah, when we got to that Grand Plaza and looking around, yeah, super, super gorgeous. I didn't expect that out of Brussels. Best thing you ate today? I should preface this by saying this is not a big food day. We had like one meal. Both of those pastries I ate on the plane, or on the train, one was like meat-filled pastry, and then the other one was like a braided like cheese type of pastry. Yeah, we're trashy. We like to go into grocery stores and get ready-to-go food, and it's usually pretty decent. I think I obligatory have to say the mussels. Yeah. Mussels and fries. Yeah, they were good. Fries were good too. I don't think you need to come to Brussels for mussels or fries, but it was both good, so we'll chalk it up with that. And the weirdest thing for me that happened today was we had to get euros, and it was very difficult to find an ATM. So, like borderline impossible. Yeah, especially when you're exhausted and you're tired of looking at your phone in a crazy city, and you're late for a tour where you've got to tip somebody. So that's probably the weirdest thing that happened. But I guess the only other weird thing would be trying to pack as much movement into one day as we packed in. So we're done. We're done in Brussels tomorrow at noon and back up to Amsterdam, where at least we're steady for almost 48 hours.
And we
2
have
nights.
and we have plane things to go to.
But nothing too crazy. So we'll be back later.
And join us next time as we visit Brussels' version of the Eiffel Tower, the awesome Atomium. Then we mail our first postcard back home and experience Belgian waffles before getting on a train back to Amsterdam, where we'll experience the very impressive Van Gogh Museum, as they say, Van Gogh, before we put down an amazing array of seafood. So pretty please, won't you hit like and subscribe and comment so you can join us on our travels through Europe. Take care, everybody.